What's up, guys? This last weekend we had a tournament at Texas Toy Soldiers in Dallas. If you're in Dallas and you need a place to play, Texas Toy Soldiers, it's the best place right there. Link below. We had a tournament. It was 1750 points, so 3 games. So I have my list here on the side. Took Seraphon. I wanted to try out Gotrek, see how well he did, and he did pretty well. Games Workshop is known for releasing models with slightly bent rules right when it comes out. Gotrek could be considered one of those. But it's great for Seraphon because we can ally him in, even though he's 520 points, and he really provides a hammer and an anvil for the list. So my list, you can see it there. We got Gotrek, 520 points. We got the Salon with Great Remember, so I get 2 teleports. This one, I decided to take Wand of Restoration as my artifact. I've never taken that one before, but I wanted to have a couple different options that I could heal Gotrek up, because each one of his wounds is so valuable. He only has 8 wounds, but they're hard to take down. So if you can tick him back up slowly through the game, that's real good. So that was my plan. I also took the spell Stellar Tempest. That's just in case I ran into any hordes in the tournament. The plan is actually, after turn 1, at the end of the hero phase, just to flop him over to the healing spell, unless you're facing a lot of hordes. But then you can heal Gotrek as well. The spell lore for the Seraphon, you can actually heal him, or you can make him fly. So that's kind of cool. Both of those spells in the Seraphon spell lore are just friendly units. They don't have to be Seraphon. So you can use those for Gotrek, which is pretty nice. We got 3 skinks, 3 units of skinks, and a unit of Ripperdactyls, 6 of them. And then a Stegodon with a bow and a Balewind Vortex. I didn't take any battalions on this one just because it was 1750. It's kind of hard to fit a battalion in with Gotrek at 1750. But my plan is on double teleports. I can teleport the Ripperdactyls and the Stegodon, and then use the Stegodon's Alpha Skink ability to move the Ripperdactyls up D6 inches. And so it's basically a Shadow Strike, just using the Stegodon and his Alpha Skink abilities. So I need to keep my Salon alive so I can keep those 2 teleports going, and then hit something with the Ripperdactyls and the Stegodon. That's my plan. And then just shoot Gotrek up the board, get him to the middle wherever he needs to be. I'll probably use my command point on him every turn to just make sure he runs. That way he can go 10 inches. And if he's not going to be able to charge first turn, obviously. If he can charge second turn, that's great. Otherwise, he's just kind of providing a huge threat up the middle somewhere. Or just sitting on an objective and say, come get me. Because you're probably not going to remove him unless you got something with a lot of dice that are going to roll. So that's my list for 1750. We'll see how it does. So game 1, I got to play Kit Reich, who is an incredible painter, well known as one of the best painters in Texas. Every time he shows up at a tournament, he usually wins the painting competition. His stuff is awesome looking. I was playing, so he had Nagash, 2 units of skeletons, a Cairn Wraith, and some Hex Wraiths, and some Chain Rasps. And then another little hero, like a Necromancer, I think. And we're playing on Total Commitment. And so you can see up there in the right-hand corner the battle plan. On this one, you score 1 for each of your objectives, and you score 3 if you hold theirs. And so we lined up this way. You can see kind of how we've lined up. I've got Gotrek right here on the front lines. I waited to basically put him as my last drop and line him up across from Nagash, hoping to get him into Nagash at some point in time. Unit of Skinks. Then I got my heroes back here, just trying to keep them out of range of Nagash's spells on that first turn, but around that objective. And then I've got my Ripperdactyls and the Stegodon over here. And hopefully, if I get a decent enough roll on the first one, I can push them out in front in the hero phase using the Stegodon, and then hit these hordes with them on my turn. He did have to go first, and so he moved up some of his skeletons just to hold this one, kind of kept this unit here, and then shot the Hex Wraiths They may have actually come down onto Gotrek, I think, because they were coming straight down the middle. And then he brought this horde to just kind of create a checkpoint around this graveyard. And all his spells he was putting into Gotrek, which I think that was his best move. It was really the only thing worthwhile in range. Oh, he put his spell portal. Yeah, you see a spell portal right there in front of Gotrek. And using that spell portal, he dumped as much magic as he could into Gotrek. He had, there's some of the tokens. He was -1 to hit, -1 to wound, -1 to attack, -1 to damage, and could only charge with 1 dice. So, not too shabby. And then now he's got to run around the spell portal on his 4-inch run, or on his 4-inch move. So, I think he did the best he could against Gotrek on that one. It did get him 1 wound down, it looks like, through all his magic that he did. You know, Gotrek does reduce all spells to just 1 damage, so it is kind of difficult to get anything through him. But he did debuff him pretty hard. And you see his Hex Wraiths coming in right here, and I think they make the charge on his turn. But you see everybody else kind of moving forward a little bit, just as hordes gathering there in front of his objective. So on my turn, before we get too far, on my turn, I do heal back up Gotrek. I think I just teleported up here, healed him with the artifact, and teleported back. Unfortunately, I tried to change the constellation with the Slan so I could get +1 to run, maybe run and charge. I think. Just kind of help out Gotrek be a little bit faster, but I failed. I rolled a 1, so Slan was stuck. I wasn't going to get any summoning my first turn. But then I rolled for the engine, and I rolled 3 6s, which if you're, well, 3 of the 4 were 6s. So if you play Seraphon, you know 3 6s on an engine is amazing. It doubles all your move for everybody on your army, and it doubles all your attacks. And so as long as I can get my Ripperdactyls in to attack something, they're going to kill it, because that'll be about 100 saves that the Ripperdactyls will get when they're doubling up their damage. But it also makes the Stegodon decently effective. It makes Skinks, now they'll have 20 shots each. I mean, it helps everything. But it also means I didn't have to worry about doing the whole double teleports. I think that's why I used my teleport to heal up the Gotrek, because these Ripperdactyls, they're moving 28. So I don't even have to do my shenanigans to get them in. They're going to get to those skeletons on their own. And so that's what we do. We shoot the Ripperdactyls across the table. They're going over here. And I teleported. I think I used my other teleport on this Stegodon to go try to capture that objective. I knew if I could capture both of these this turn, then all I would have to do is just camp mine. And I don't think he'd have enough bodies to win it. Because if you can score that 6 points from those, it'd be game over. As long as I could hold mine, of course. So those Ripperdactyls, they easily took out his Necromancer and the skeletons that were over there. This Stegodon he did not perform very well. Even with double the attacks, he didn't do very well. He killed a couple of the skeletons. I think I put all the stomps on the skeletons and maybe the horns on this guy as a Khorne Wraith. Which I probably should have reversed that, because the Khorne Wraith is ethereal, so the horns have -3 rend. It doesn't really do anything to them. But that kind of actually turned into a little bit of a pillow fight over there. Ripperdactyls took that one out. Let's see if we have the this may have not been this turn. So that was the end of that one. So I was able to score. We'll pop up the score here. I was able to score 5 my turn from my 2 back here, and then I was able to capture this one because I wiped all those guys off. And so I was able to get 5 points to his 2. He only had the 2 from his first. And then I got the double turn, and so I kept these. Since I already had that one, I think I brought these Ripperdactyls down this way. And the next picture has some, yeah, we got some more summoning from the engine, so we brought in another 20 Skinks. And I just kept backing up my Slan just to make sure he kept out of the way of Nagash. I think that's why he had brought Nagash down, was to help Hand of Dust him at some point. So if you can get rid of the Slan, you can really cripple the army. Yeah, there's my Ripperdactyls. They went into the Chain Rasps, I believe was right there. Took out some of them, but they didn't really hit all that good. It wasn't as much as I was hoping. Usually, without the bloat toad, they're going to get about 35 save rolls, but it was lower than that. They didn't do enough to take them out. Brought Gotrek up this way, hoping to get into Nagash, but couldn't make it that far. I may have run it because I don't think he would have had enough with one dice on a charge. It's really hard to get in range to charge. And then my Stegodon over here was literally like we were just pillow fighting that Khorne Wraith, which is ridiculous. That Khorne Wraith is 60 points maybe, and the Stegodon just couldn't kill them. Just bad dice, I think. You can see his dead pile up here. We've killed quite a lot with those Ripperdactyls. Getting 2 turns on the Ripperdactyls is pretty big. So that was pretty nice. His turn, he brought in Nagash into the Rippers and healed up some of the Chain Rasps, but Nagash easily dealt with the Rippers. He'll kill those off. Oh, he brought some skeletons back here. Brought them back from the dead using a command point maybe or something. And so was able to get some more bodies on that one. It looks like, I won the next turn priority. And so I was just, at this point, I was just summoning more stuff. I wasn't too worried about my objective, but I just started summoning more stuff. And then I brought back my Stegodon. I had a plan of teleporting the Stegodon back here and then healing him up and then teleporting him back. But mid-hero phase, I decided on something else. And I can't remember what I did. Maybe I think I may have teleported up and healed Gotrek up again, maybe, or something like that. You can barely see, but I pulled back the Skinks and then 1 Ripperdactyl back here. And so even if he charged in Nagash on his turn, I'd have that 1 Ripperdactyl back there alive so that he couldn't take that objective back. And then I was just going to let him have this one because I had already gotten the points I needed from that one. So Gotrek went into these Chain Rasps, took them out, as he's prone to do. And then in Kit's turn, I think it was just he didn't have many models left on the board, so it was like, let's fight Nagash versus Gotrek and see what happens. And so in turn 3 and 4, they faced off Nagash versus Gotrek. And Gotrek was fully debuffed. So, I mean, if he had a chance to kill him, this was it. And Nagash couldn't. I think I had healed Gotrek back up. And in 2 rounds of combat, Nagash did 3 damage to Gotrek. And Gotrek killed Nagash. So a little 32 wound hero killed Nagash. It was beautiful. Although, maybe, just maybe, Gotrek is a little overpowered. But it was a fun game. Good game. Kit had a lot of fun. It was nice to be able to see Nagash versus Gotrek and see them face off in real life. I think that first double timer I had was pretty strategic, or not strategic, but important, because I was able to just keep the points piling up, but then also pile those guys in and just hold up his horde another turn. But yeah, good game overall. It was a lot of fun. It's always nice to see Kit's models on the table. They are beautiful. Game 2, I played against David and his Khorne, and we were playing on shifting objectives. So you can see the 3 main points here in the middle. And at the beginning of each battle round, before you choose who goes first, it's going to jump between one of them. And that one's worth 3. All the others are worth 2. So on setup, he put Scarbrand here, along with his throne here in the middle. So I thought he was going to kind of focus on these 2. And so my plan was either one of 2 things. Where he put his next Bloodthirster was going to be his other focal point, and I was just going to try to set everything else up against it. So he put it here, and so I put the rest of my guys here, but knowing that I'm going to send, in my first hero phase, everything important back to this side. Just so I can be as far away from that other Bloodthirster as possible. Maybe hopefully keep him out of combat for 2 turns maybe, and then just deal with Scarbrand. So that was the plan. I out-deployed him, so he went first and brought in some dogs over to this objective. He probably should have brought him in closer. When he didn't, he just kind of lined him up outside of 6, just trying to stay out of combat. I think he may have been a little bit worried about the mortals this engine would put out or something. But if he had run them up a whole lot closer, he could have blocked me from getting to him. Maybe he had a bad run roll. I can't remember. And then he brought some of these guys up to just kind of block this area here. And he kept his Bloodthirster behind this right here. I'm not really sure why. I didn't really have too much that could threaten that Bloodthirster there. I have a little bit of shooting, but it's not that bad. These guys, I guess if he would have brought them closer, maybe I could have gotten them with them. But basically, he marched these guys forward just a little bit, just enough to score all 3 of the objectives. These dogs ran up to that one. I think these dogs ran up to this one. And so he had all 3 objectives in his turn. We can see the score here. In my turn, I kind of did what I had planned to do and bring the majority of my force back over to this side, since he had a lot of his guys focused over here on these 2 objectives. I'm going to just try to hold these 2 and hope it bounces my way. These skinks were able to get in and capture this objective. I got some skinks and Gotrek. I ran Gotrek up. I think he's like right here behind this little gazebo thing. But I got some skinks up to that one. And then I got enough skinks in range to capture this one as well. So I also had all 3 in my turn. I don't think the Engine of God did anything. This time I didn't really push my Ripperdactyls anywhere because I'd used both my teleports just to kind of reposition the battlefield. I really just used them as a screen in case he got the next turn on me. I didn't want him to get stuff into my Stegodon here. But also, I knew I wanted to get those Rippers into Scarbrand or the Bloodthirster at some point. And so I'm going to bide my time just a little bit and see if I can do my teleport shenanigans with them in the Stegodon to where I can get them into one of the Bloodthirsters. It was my plan. I wasn't quite ready to commit them yet. And I wanted him to have to try to deal with Gotrek here in the middle if at all possible. I did get the double turn, though, so basically I could just sit here and summon more stuff and hold the objectives. So that's basically what I did, was just hold the objectives, shoot some stuff with the skinks and the Stegodon and stuff. I did send in Gotrek. You can see him right here. My only combat was Gotrek. He went into those dogs. Easily killed them. And then there wasn't anything else in range to pile into, so he just killed those dogs, gave him a blood type point. You can see I brought in some more summons here. I think this was another summons here just to provide layers. That's what you try to do, just send out layers of skinks so they can't get to you in a double turn. His turn, you can see he brought his guys in. He brought Scarbrand in, which Scarbrand was going to kill off that unit of skinks right here and that unit on his double pile-in. And he brought in about 30 bloodletters, I think, or 20 bloodletters. The guys in the red pajamas, whatever those guys are called, into Gotrek to try to take that objective. He attacked first with Scarbrand, which was that's a hard one, because if he doesn't, then I'm gonna try to get these skinks out of there if possible. And then he could probably try to put some wounds into Gotrek. But if he doesn't, then my first activation is gonna be Gotrek, and I'm just gonna destroy those things. So that's kind of what happened. Oh, here's a picture of Gotrek versus the bloodletters. He may have taken 1 or 2 wounds from them, I think, just because they have a lot of attacks, but he easily dealt with them there. There he is removing his models. Oh, this may have been. So this would be my turn. I don't know what's going on here. So on my turn, I brought in. I'm trying to remember exactly what happened here. Yeah. So from round 2 to 3, it goes to me. I bring in these Ripperdactyls and take out Scarbrand. And I'm able to keep this objective. He's got the one on the left. He killed some skinks that were over there in his second turn, so he got those. I honestly don't remember what was happening here. We must have gotten into some more combat there. Gotrek was able to hold that thing down, though, so whatever happened there, he was able to clear whatever out he needed to there. But we were able to take out Scarbrand with the Ripperdactyls, and that was nice. So now he's got his one Bloodthirster back over this way with some more guys, and then he's got that left side objective held down pretty good. I think it was this turn maybe is when the prime objective bounced his way, so he was scoring an extra point on it. Yeah, you can see round 3. He scored 3, and I only scored 2 for these right here. I think I may have been able to shoot the rest of those dogs off, maybe. I don't remember. Here's where we're... This may be the last picture we have for the game. So this is basically how it ended. He was able to summon in another Bloodthirster from his little banner guy. And then he brought him over here to the Ripperdactyls, killed off the Ripperdactyls. But he wasn't going to have enough to score this objective. And these guys here couldn't quite make it over here to take Gotrek. They could have made it over there on his previous turn, I think. But he told me later, what he was trying to do is he's trying to get Gotrek to come up on my turn to attack those Chaos Warrior guys. I don't know what they're called. Obviously, I didn't take that bait. I'm just going to sit here with Gotrek, and if you attack me, then, we'll see what happens. Gotrek will probably win that. Even if this Bloodthirster came down in, Gotrek would probably kill him too. But he wanted me to bring Gotrek up here, and then he was going to swing his Bloodthirster around to kill those skinks. But I just held strong there in the middle and captured those 2 points. I think it bounced back to the middle on round 4, and so I was able to score 4 points. So if it hadn't bounced my way, then I think he might have had a pretty good chance to win this. But as it did, since it's bounced here into the middle, I was able to score those points. And then on round 5, it either stayed here or here. I can't remember. But either way, I got the priority. And so I was able to score another 4 points, which means even if he cleared out all 3, he was only going to get 5, and he'd be 1 point down. So I don't think he could have taken Gotrek. But I think what he could have done is he could have just run enough guys around here, maybe within 6, but probably not. I had skinks here and I had skinks here, and some of them were all within 6. I don't think he could have gotten that one without engaging Gotrek, which he probably would have lost that one. But he did a good job of screening me out on this one. If the prime had stayed over there, it would have been a lot harder for me to do anything about it. But my strategy of just hanging on to 2, worry about those 2, let him have the 3rd one. It's a little bit of a gamble, but it worked out on this one. So it was a good game. We had lots of stuff dying. Gotrek saw a little bit of combat, cleared out a couple hordes. Didn't get to fight any of the Bloodthirsters. I kind of wanted to see him fight that big Bloodthirster back there, or Scarbrand when he was alive over here. But Ripperdactyls dealt with him, and then this guy I wasn't even going to worry about him. It was too late in the game, and he's just one model, so I can outbody him with these skinks. So, I did summon in an extra Engine of God at some point. I think I had a lot of summoning points, and at one point I had a whole bunch of skinks up, so I didn't need any more. Yeah, but good game. Gotrek didn't do quite as much this turn, but he did kill out a couple of hordes, which was nice. Don't get me wrong. But that sphere of influence he has of don't come near me or I'll send your model off the table is pretty scary. He's a pretty scary model. He can definitely hold an objective on his own if you can get him there, and throw some skinks in behind him just for bodies, and you can basically say this objective is going to be mine the rest of the game. So thanks, GW. So game 3. We had sort of a mirror match. So at the same time, I've been going 2-0. Another Seraphon player with Gotrek, Brandon, had also been going 2-0. So everybody was rooting for the 2 Gotreks to have a face-off, and that's what happened. So me and Brandon are 2 of the 3 Seraphon players here in Dallas area, and so I haven't ever played against each other at any of the tournaments this summer, so this was nice to finally face off, and especially once we both have Gotrek. We were playing Better Part of Valor, which was going to be an interesting one because, I mean, we're setting up so far away from each other. It was going to be interesting to see when Gotreks would fight each other and what would happen. I mean, really, I think they just pounded each other for a couple turns until somebody got lucky and missed a few save rolls or something. But he was running Shadow Strike, so he had a Skink Priest, maybe 2 Skink Priests, Gotrek, a Salon, and then Shadow Strike. And so my goal in setting up was just to make it to where if he brought Shadow Strike down first turn, it was a waste, but hopefully just to push him off and make him bring it down turn 2 or later. And so I literally deployed in just a bubble. You can see it here. There's skinks all around the outside. A couple skinks stretched towards that one. And then I've got Gotrek here. My plan was just to send Gotrek to this one with some skinks and hold this objective. Some skinks to hold that one. And then push Rippers somewhere on the table. But I needed to make sure either he was going to let me go first so I could just start summoning more skinks, which I didn't think he was going to let me do, or not give him a target for Shadow Strike. He did take turn 1. He put the Bloat Toad down over here somewhere, kind of right between the Salon and the skinks, but didn't really have a good target. I think, yeah. So the plan worked. So he didn't bring him down turn 1. He did teleport this unit of skinks over here to this objective. And that may have been everything he teleported, I think. He's got 1 unit of skinks holding here, 1 here, and then 1 here. And he'll summon in some more with the Salon, I think, just to surround the Salon there. I was feeling fairly confident because I thought I basically got a poor man's Shadow Strike, right? So I can send my Ripperdactyls and the engine basically wherever I want and probably get them in and take an objective. So on my turn, let's see what kind of pictures we got here. Oh, here's just the glorious bubble of skinks. Nothing to attack there with Shadow Strike. It does change your deployment when you're playing Shadow Strike. So here's my turn. I summon in some more. I'm pushing out my bubble. I know statistically Shadow Strike can kill Gotrek, so I'm not being hyper aggressive with Gotrek. I've run the simulation, and he can be killed by Shadow Strike because it's about 50 saves, so that's what you need to kill him. So I'm keeping him a little screen there. And I send my Rippers here and my Stegodon. My Stegodon's over here. I don't know how I got my Ripperdactyls over there that quick then. I'm not sure. Oh, you know what this is? This is a picture that didn't happen until my second turn. That must be what this is. Okay. So okay, yeah, that's right. So after my first turn, I summon in more stuff. I do the Stegodon and the Ripperdactyls over here, and we take out those skinks that were right here. And so then we roll off for priority, and I get priority going into here. We'll pop up the score here. So I do get priority. So I get the double turn, which is pretty big on this one because you're going to burn objectives turn 2. And so at the end of my turn, I had this one for sure. I had summoned some extra Ripperdactyls in, so I sent them over here with the Stegodon to take out these 10 skinks. That was it, okay? So 10 skinks, can I take them out with a Stegodon and 3 Ripperdactyls, right? I got this. If I can burn these 4, the game's mine, because then I'm just going to sit on my objective, he's going to sit on his, and we'll wait there the whole game, and it won't matter, okay? Unfortunately, the Ripperdactyls, I skink moved them, but they only move I think they moved 3. So they had to make a 6-inch charge. Fail it. Stegodon. Oh, and I had +1 to charge from the Salon. So they had to make like a 5-inch charge, and they fail it. The Stegodon, he has to make an 8-inch charge. He fails it. So the Stegodon, even his shooting doesn't even get any of the skinks dead. And so we fail on that one. That was disappointing. But I have this one, I have this one, and I have this one. So now my dilemma is, I'm going to definitely burn this one and this one because I outnumber him by one skink over here. So he could easily take that one back. This one, Gotrek he'd have to make a heck of a charge, but it's doable. And so I'm going to definitely burn this one in his territory. The question was this one. So the objective is like right here. And I think I did a quick measurement. If he brought Shadow Strike in like this, and I don't know if he would have done this or not, but I would have if I were him. Like 3 Ripperdactyls just hit these skinks, blow them up, but keep out of 3 of Gotrek, and you would have that objective and burn it. And then basically he could do the same thing I was going to do. Just hold these 2, and he's got the game. There would literally be no way for me to win if he captured that one. So that's what I was a little worried about. So I ended up burning this one, and I think that's where I may have lost the game. If I could have held on to that one, one more turn, I could have put up a better screen. Ripperdactyls I wouldn't have worried about. Gotrek would have sat there. I would have had 2 objectives burned. We'd both be holding 2, and I could just hold on for the rest of the game and win. But I went ahead and burned it, so I got 4 points total. And in his turn, let's see what pictures we got here. His turn, he's basically just, he brought Gotrek over, and he shot all of these skinks into the Ripperdactyls. If he had gotten one more wound through, he would have killed one Ripperdactyl, and Gotrek it wouldn't have been possible to make a charge with Gotrek. As it was, he only put 2 wounds on, and Gotrek made like a 12-inch charge and deleted those Ripperdactyls. That 12-inch charge right there was another spot where it probably won the game for him. You'll get a theme here in a minute that if this one thing hadn't happened, I would have won. Earlier, if I would have made one of those charges, I would have won. If Gotrek hadn't made this charge, those Ripperdactyls would have been alive, and I could have sent them over here easily, and would have gotten some fun stuff going on. So he killed them. This may be my turn. Let's see, A, B, C, D, E. Yeah, turn 3. So I summoned in more Ripperdactyls, and I teleport the Stegodon again, and all I've got to do is just get into these skinks and kill them with the Ripperdactyls, and it'll be, he's got these, I have more Ripperdactyls back there, that's right. Guess what happens? They fail all their charges. They miss it, they miss it, they miss it. What are you going to do? If I could have done that, that would have been game over. Any of those charges would have been game over. But no, was not to be. Not today. So on his turn, he just brings in Shadow Strike. Hey, I made him waste a Shadow Strike. No, he brought in his Shadow Strike back here, killed off those Ripperdactyls that were a threat back there, and basically just summoned in more skinks, more skinks, more skinks. At this point, he's just going to keep summoning bodies, and I mean, I still have Ripperdactyls, but I've got to be able to clear through the skinks fast enough to get it, and he's got that big group of 6. And so at this point, I don't see a lot of hope left, just because I failed all those charges over here when there were, I think there was 1 skink, and then there was like 2 others in. So if I could have killed that last one, it would have been done, but that small group was keeping him alive. And he rolled the Battle Shock. He needed a 1 to save him, and he did. Again. Otherwise, I would have won. No, it was a fun game, but yeah. So let's see. Do we have any more pictures? So let's see. He got the double turn from 3 to 4, and he brought his Ripperdactyls this way and killed off the Stegodon and that group of Rippers that was right there. So that was basically my last threat to this side. Actually, he didn't kill off the Stegodon. The Stegodon lived. He killed off my Rippers that were right there. Because in my turn, this was a last-ditch effort, I sent my Slon over here in the corner. You can't really see it. and the Stegodon, I think, teleported over there. The Stegodon moved in. I brought the Slon in so he could summon some more Ripperdactyls, which I did here. And then I could have re-rolling charges for the Stegodon and Rippers if I needed it. And so I had the Ripperdactyls are right here. Like, I had inches of clearance to make it into here. But they had a small corridor. And they were able to get into these skinks. This Stegodon made it into these skinks, killed off a bunch of them. And these Ripperdactyls back here failed their charge twice. Of course. So now I'm positioned to where, like, I have 4 models, and he's got 4 models that are in range, maybe 5. It was a pretty sweet move, if I do say so myself. I mean, I brought in some guys there. I liked the move. Now, if I get the double turn here, again, game over. For the 8th time, it would have been game over if I got the double turn here. What happens? Nope, he wins the double turn. So at that point, we just called it because he was going to send in these guys here, kill off those Ripperdactyls. I mean, it honestly wouldn't matter. He could have just pulled everything back, and it wouldn't have mattered. He would have been able to summon in enough stuff, kill off these guys. That guy was only down to a couple wounds. He'd send in these Ripperdactyls, which are just bases. But he would send them into there, probably kill off him. So it was game over. So he was able to burn his 2 objectives in his turn. And then I burned mine for 8 points in my turn. 16-12. So unfortunately, our Gotreks never fought. His Gotrek killed off some Rippers here. And he may have brought him back this way to take on the Stegodon, maybe. I can't remember what he did in his turn. He did start heading this way. We had some people that were stopping by to see if we had been fighting the Gotreks yet, and we just hadn't. Mine, honestly, I was too worried about other stuff to worry about Gotrek. Maybe if I had sent him up this way, he could have threatened at some point in the game. You know, after a couple turns, I could have made a threat up here, but I thought I had it. I had the game. All I had to do was kill one skink. Now I know why skinks are so frustrating to all of you that play me. No, it was a lot of fun though. Great game. So Brandon won the tournament. We had a lot of fun. The Gotreks they're the real deal, man. Especially in Seraphon, where you can summon in enough cheap bodies to kind of support them, but you can also heal them, which is huge. I don't know if there's any other armies in the Order faction that can heal them. I think maybe Cities of Sigmar, there's a healing spell in there. So you might see them pop up in my Hallowheart army as well. But a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Every tournament at Texas Toy Soldiers usually is a blast. So great tournament. Had fun with all my opponents there, and really glad with the way Gotrek performed. He's definitely going in my list in future tournaments until they decide to nerf him somehow or raise the points or something. But either way, he's an excellent complement to Seraphon. So if you need something in your Seraphon army, pick up a Gotrek. All right, good stuff.